First of all, you got to tell us about your $75 million property that you sold.
I know that it was like a big number. It was the biggest deal that occurred in New York in 2023 in November when it closed. You know, it's Adam and Done, and it's the beautiful production work that they put out. So like I couldn't be happier.
The things she did and said was pretty accurate?
No, no. It was either a vendetta or a need to compare. I'm trying to think like what else I could like.
I could tell you that you have such a big heart.
I think there was a unique relationship between single moms who raise their children on their own, especially just one child on their own, right? Pain is the one experience that truly makes you better. That's what it means.
Love that. Love that. Speaking of your dating life, I know this is getting so juicy. Are you dating? She is the star of New York's high-end real estate and the shining lead of Netflix Selling the City, where her unmatched expertise and tenacity take center stage. Consistently ranked among the top 10 individual agents, she has spearheaded sales and marketing for iconic developments like Beekman Residences and Belnord Condominium, earning the trust of industry giants like Howard Lorber. A proud Soho native and Flatiron resident, she combines her encyclopedic knowledge of the city with a global perspective. Speaking multiple languages, she understands that mastering Manhattan's real estate market requires a profound connection to the global community. Beyond real estate, she's a visionary leader, founding this SHS mentoring program to empower over 1,000 students annually with life-changing professional skills while serving on boards that champion early childhood education. Her story is one of passion, excellence, and inspiration, a trailblazer proving that no dream is too bold and no stage is too big. Pain to Power family, please welcome Eleanora Srugo. Woo!
Where'd you get that one? I was like, that's nice.
Well, I had to compress everything because there's so much to you, and you're just a phenomenal powerhouse woman, and I'm just so excited to get connected. Immediately I knew, I'm like, okay, this is my girl. Like, I love you. Yes. So of course I watched the show, and this is not going to be all about the show, but I definitely want to get into.
No, we can talk. I mean, obviously we're in the same family. We understand each other, right? With this,
yeah, so for sure.
Part of it.
So a couple things. I definitely want to, definitely get into the show, real estate, all the things, because as I already told you, the majority of my viewers and listeners are in real estate, in the industry, entrepreneurs, all the things. So being featured on Selling the City, I'm sure has amplified your brand, obviously. How has the show impacted your business and personal life? And what's one behind the scenes moment that would surprise the audience?
Wow. Well, the show has been out for less than a month now, so I don't really know how it'll impact my business. I don't count anything until it's hatched, so we don't know. But certainly, I would say there are some leads that have come in through the show, or maybe not even the show, some of the press surrounding the show, especially overseas, but nothing dramatic yet. Mm-hmm. The business has been very consistent, actually. I still think 2025 will be a very strong year. How has it impacted my life? I'm a lot busier. I'm someone who loves to respond to every email, every message. I clear my inbox out at the end of the night. That's been a struggle for me. If I'm being completely open, I respond to things, I file them in folders, I have charts. So it's hard when I can't keep up with that just because we're busy. But I think that's just a factor of it being so new. And so hopefully that'll slow down. I don't know yet. We'll see. And then you tell me. And that's it. And what's a behind the scenes? Gosh, our show is very authentic. It was actually pretty true. I do think that because there was so much to unpack, it maybe left people with a lot of questions about the different dynamics. But everything that you see is true. I don't know that there's some sort of behind the scenes or deleted or something that like didn't make it in terms of a storyline. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like we shot, how it is when you do a first season show. I feel like you shoot so
Yeah.
much because you don't know what direction it's going to go in. But yeah, I think there were like some smaller deals, some like other real estate deals that were like really cool that didn't end up making it. But hopefully they'll see the light of day one day.
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, you got to tell us about your $75 million property that you sold. Because you talked about selling it, but we would have loved to see like the process and
there was no way.
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah. But you got to give us like something, like a quick, like, how did you do that?
It's so funny. So to be totally honest, I hated talking about this deal on the show. I know that it was like a big number. It was the biggest deal that occurred in New York in 2023 in November when it closed. But at the time, there've been bigger ones since and in the history, but that year was the biggest deal. But it's like embarrassing to keep talking about one deal. I've been in real estate for 15 years. I've had a lot of very monumental deals. Like I had a $19 million deal that meant more to me at the time when I did it. I've done, 27, 30 something, but obviously this number was a reach. I didn't anticipate ever getting there. And look, there is a level more so than I think in LA and in California, because there the element of entertainment in Hollywood is maybe more palatable and acceptable to people. Mm-hmm. It's an industry that dominates the state. That's not an industry that dominates New York at all. So like people really seek the opposite. I actually think that's why like New York unscripted or reality shows have always struggled, because the upper echelon of New York wealth is never going to put themselves out there like that. They actually like seek the opposite. They seek privacy and discretion. Fame is like not a currency here. People don't move here to get on TV shows or be actors or actresses. So you know what I mean? Like no one wants to flaunt their wealth in New York. Whereas some people probably do want that in California because that's the industry that they're in. It's not a factor here. It's like quite the opposite. So even if I wanted to talk about this apartment further, I could not. The building simply does not allow it. There's no photos of the outside, inside. But I will say this, like, you can do your research and find out more about what it is. There are only, 5 buildings in New York City, I think, that have hit those types of numbers in terms of, the volume and also the price per square foot. And look, these buildings run sort of almost like social clubs, right? Like they are, what kind of buyer can buy that kind of apartment? Like, you're talking about ultra high net worth, not, 500 million plus, right? To be in those types of buildings. And so that's it. So we're very protective over those clients, and that business and that part of the industry is still really important to me. Like just because I'm on a show, I totally recognize that a majority of my clients want nothing to do with that. This is a platform for the clients that like want to use it, right? If they want more exposure to their listings or, new developments and things like that. But the ones that are seeking privacy will like always be protected.
Wow. I didn't know that about New York. I've actually never been to New York. And people get so shocked. What? I know, but when they hear that, that's definitely on my to-go list for sure. And it's really funny.
Well, we'll have a really good time.
Oh my gosh. That's on my to-go list. But it's funny because the majority of my clients are either East Coasters. I'm just going to say just East Coasters, but everyone always thinks I'm from the East Coast. Don't know why. I started spending more time on the East Coast recently. I was like, well, everyone's really cool. They're straightforward. They're honest. They'll say it to your face. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But
yeah, it does make sense. I could see that.
When I watched, I loved how you guys were so open and honest to each other. I really, really loved that. It was funny because in episode 5, you said a comment. You said, go back to California. I was like, hold on.
Who did I say?
Do you remember saying that?
No, but to Jordan maybe. I don't know. I can't remember who's. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Jade. You said it to Jade.
Okay. Oh, maybe to Jade.
Yeah.
Okay, she spent like 10 years in LA, I think, before she came to New
Oh,
York, so
okay.
or something like that, or in Arizona, LA,
Yeah,
whatever.
I thought it was funny. Also, is it true that Million Dollar Listing asked you to be on their show one time and you turned it down?
No, I didn't turn. I actually I wanted to do it.
Oh.
I yeah, it wasn't. No, no. I Million Dollar Listing was in, I can't remember what season, but Steve, so the first season it was Frederick, Ryan, and Michael, who was my partner. We had a team together for a few years. Then there was Frederick, Ryan, and a guy named Luis Ortiz.
Mm,
Then he left, and then it was Frederick, Ryan, and Steve.
okay.
In Steve's sophomore year, they wanted to bring in maybe a woman. I think that was something that was like important to them in 2016. I'd gone through the entire casting process. We then started to film with me in it. And I would say within 2 or 3 weeks, they were like, actually, it worked. We had great, like the combo of Frederick, Ryan, and Steve was so great. We want to just like let them have that cast for a while.
Uh,
And that was it. And then I was cut.
oh.
No, so that's what happened there. But it was great. It was a fun experience filming for like the 2 weeks that I did. Wasn't, no sweat off my back. We spoke again like 2 years later. They ultimately did end up casting a woman in their final season, and then the show was, I guess, put on pause or
Mm.
whatever. And it all works out. It all happens for a reason, because like this is to me the better franchise. When it's new, it's fresh, it's a great concept, it's Adam and done, and it's the beautiful production work that they put out. So like, and it's this platform of Netflix. Like, I couldn't be happier. I'm in a way better place also in my life, career. So it all worked out.
Yep. Yep, that's
Yeah.
right. What is delayed is not denied. And obviously, God had bigger plans for you. And I always
Yes.
tell people this:
Bigger.
Bravo is national and Netflix is international. So if you're trying to ask me which one's better,
National.
no offense, Bravo.
Yeah. No, by the way, I like Bravo. I
Yeah.
grew up on Bravo. It's great, but it's so nice to connect to people all around the world also.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would say one of the first things that I noticed about you from watching the show, I could tell you that you have such a big heart, and I know that you're raised by a single mom, basically. Um, First off, I don't know how deep you're willing to go, but if it's too personal, you don't have to ask or answer anything. But I'm just curious, as a single mother myself, raising a boy, well, a man now, how is that like being raised by a single mom? And I'm assuming that's one of the reasons what really made you so just hardworking and passionate and ambitious. And where, may I ask where your father is, and just kind of getting,
Sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's so funny. I've watched your story on your show. This is one of the main reasons that I really connected with Giselle. I think there was a unique relationship between single moms who raise their children on their own, especially just one child on their own, right? I think it's sort of like, I would say we made like a pact or a deal, spoken or unspoken, is that like she was going to provide me with what I needed to sort of survive and live: a home, food, education, and sort of my end of the bargain was to do right by her, right? Like my job was to like get good grades, not get in trouble, and be sort of as solid of a person as I can be. So I saw, people always say like a single mom, might not be home. I don't believe that being home or present is always the answer. I really believe that parenting is also leading by example. Yeah. I saw a woman that worked 3 jobs to make ends meet. I saw someone who never gave up, who found solutions, who, used teamwork by calling, neighbors or employee, or waiter, anyone to sort of watch and help out. I saw someone that was very resourceful. And obviously, I also watched her go through very hard times. So to me, those are things that create better, better adults. And so, do I have regret that my parents weren't together? No, because I don't think that unhappy parents are good examples. My father, so my parents were, I guess high school sweethearts. They had a very loose hippy-dippy relationship in their 20s. I think the marriage was doomed by the time they got married at 29. And I was born overseas in Israel, and that's where he stayed. So my mom and I sort of moved to the States, and he was there. Now in 1989, when you're 2 years old and your dad is over there, it's harder because we don't, now you can FaceTime anyone, but back then, like, calling international was expensive. Like, we'd have to go to the bodega and buy calling cards to dial international. Like, I would look forward to talking to my dad once a week on a Friday for 10 minutes because that's what we could afford to call him. And it's obviously 12 hours away. It's not an easy place to visit. Not to say that we didn't have a good relationship at times. I would, so often go visit him, and now we're good. But look, it's hard. It's certainly hard when you see one parent struggling, and at some point all children become aware of finances and how that impacts relationships and your parents. I also, my dad at some point had other children when I was 10 or 11, and there are interesting feelings and dynamics around that also, these are things that I could very much relate to sort of Giselle about. But yeah, look, in life, I would say, if I'm being totally honest, the relationship hasn't been perfect, but I do think it's best to have, time is a very limited commodity. I think it's better to have good and existing relationships with your parents. I don't believe in if you still have them, then you should make the best of what you can get out of them,
Yeah.
So
no, I definitely agree with that. So how's your relationship now? I'm sure your mom is so proud of you. And have you spoken to your dad recently? I'm just so curious.
Yeah. My dad and I chat, he's still in Israel. We're fine now that I'm in my I'm still going to own mid 30s, not late 30s. So now that I'm in my mid 30s, we have a very friendly relationship, and that's good. That's what I need. I'm obviously not in a place where I'm looking for what I was maybe looking for when I was younger. My mother is great. I mean, she's happy. I think at first she was a little confused by, no, not confused, just maybe, she's just old school. If I dye my hair, she's like, don't touch your hair. So let alone if I got Botox, that'll kill her. But she's great. She's super happy. There were definitely some growing pains when the relationship started to change, when I finally started to be able to provide and support her. I think as a woman who's always worked for everyone else, it's a very weird feeling for her to think about me spoiling her or me helping her out in any way. Those are things that those are dynamics that change. But it's great. We've been a team. We're always going to be a team on some level. And she's very excited, certainly for better or worse. When I did the show, there's so many reality shows, right? There's Housewives, and I watch them. I'm a consumer of them. I love seeing these people, but my mom worked multiple jobs, waitressing, cleaning house, whatever she needed to do. There was no way to give me really everything, to let me grow up in Manhattan, in Soho, get a great education. If I needed something, she would ask people for money. You know what I mean? With no shame. There's no way that I was going to go on a television show and act a fool or embarrass her in any way. That was not it. You can see in episode 1 when Jade is asking me at the lunch, why are you being nasty? The minute I heard that word, I was like, whoa, I can't, I know I can escalate this because I know myself, but I was like, I cannot. So I got up and left, obviously. Obviously, if she had come to me on camera and said what's wrong, I feel there's tension between, if she had approached me differently, I would have loved to talk it out with her. But because she said why are you being nasty? I was like, okay, this could escalate. So I left. But yeah, that's just not something I'm ever going to do either. Right. I'm also not going on the show, in a bikini, like making out with
Right.
anyone
Yeah.
either.
No, I
You know?
hear you.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
how are you and Jade?
Um, we're not, I would say we're like nothing. We're status quo.
Okay.
I, I mean, it was obviously, um, there were times in our friendship where we've been closer, times where we haven't been. She's another successful woman at my firm, so I'm never going to like go to war, I don't want to have bad blood with her,
Mhm.
but truthfully we don't really see each other much. I don't think I've seen her in like a month
Yeah.
anywhere. But I do want to enjoy this experience with her and with the rest of the cast. We were like whatever. I mean, obviously I watched the show, so it was not easy.
Yeah.
That was not easy for me. So, maybe I have to go through my process,
Mhm.
or I need some distance, but like she's owning everything she said on the show. She still going on interviews or podcasts and saying that is her truth. And I respect if that's her truth, but it is not the truth.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I also then like don't really need to like, I don't know if there was maybe some sort of I don't even care about an apology. If there was some sort of like, I want to do this differently next time, then I could maybe be like receptive to that. But I haven't heard that yet.
So you don't have to tell me too much detail, but would you say that her, everything was pretty accurate with her, the things she did and said to you and about you was pretty accurate?
No, no. I mean, I could make a list, but no. No one in the industry likes me. I mean, certainly at this level of success, I've done a lot of deals with thousands of agents. There are going to be a handful that probably don't like me so much. There are also a lot of people that don't like her. I would say she also does resale. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to speak on her career. She really does do new development. I don't do that. And I think new development is amazing. And I wish I could do that. And like, I even say in episode 6 how envious I am that like that's such an amazing part of this business. And again, she does a little bit whatever, but again, that is her own journey to speak about. I didn't appreciate her talking about my sex life on the show. I did not have a situationship with Justin. We never dated. I don't know why that was talked about. We had sex, but we never dated. I'm trying to think like what else I could like.
Sorry.
Are my listings fake? Yeah, like are my listings fake and I fluff them up? I mean, that's like asking me if my hair is black. Like I don't know how to answer that. Like okay,
You don't have
I
to.
mean, like should we call 1099s from the last like 15 years? I'm trying to think what else she
This
said.
is so good.
What else was said? I mean, it's just like I don't know why she didn't take this incredible opportunity to share her story, which I think is beautiful and great. And when she opens up about it, she has this incredible journey to talk about: professional journey, personal journey, childhood, romantic journey. And like, there are so many things about her that she should share with the world. I don't understand why this was sort of like a referendum on me.
Well,
I'm trying to think.
I mean, I think,
yeah, like, is she always the bigger person? And she also said, I'm always the bigger person and have to reach out. Sometimes I was the bigger person when the show was an opportunity for me. I was the bigger person. I reached out to her to extend it to her. Yes, there had been a time previously when she reached out first, but it was probably because I was like, I never was going to. I mean, that's the truth. So I don't know that that's like a reason. Again, like when we're good, we're fine.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah. I know it's a lot to unpack. No, but so when we're fine, like I will only say incredible things about her abilities, her career. I don't understand. I did watch the show and I did feel like there was either a vendetta or a need to compare for some reason when there is really no comparison. Not because one's better or worse, because it's different.
So different.
And in the business.
Yeah.
Right. I've been in the business longer. I've done different things. She has a different career path, just different. And I don't really understand why there was a need to like point that out. But otherwise, Yeah, I guess I summed it
Yeah,
up.
no, that was that was more than what I was asking for, but love it. No, that yeah. Well, thank you for opening
Yeah,
up about that. Um,
no problem.
so speaking of your dating life, I know this is getting so juicy. I as okay, as a very
Hmm.
hardworking, powerful woman that is just uber focused on her business and being the best version of herself every single day and evolving and growing, we're busy. We stay busy. And I first of all, okay, are you dating?
Are you? I don't know. I am not dating at all right
Okay.
now. I wish I was.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to be like completely upfront. I didn't date for many years in my 20s. I talk about this openly on
Yeah.
the show. Then about 6 years ago, I started dating, having sex. I've met some, there have been nice people since, all that I'm friends with and still really like, and great, maybe lovers and friends. And I'm learning about that part of myself. But I would say, like, actively for the last like year and a half, there's been nobody monumental in my life or even meaningful in any way. I haven't really been on a date. I haven't been hooking up with anyone. There is nothing. And I actually thought, I was like, but also for the last year and a half, I've been really busy at work. I've been doing this show. So, maybe this new opportunity is like a whole new world and will bring new people into my
Yeah.
life. Maybe I will meet a guy
So
now.
was that a choice that you made because you wanted to focus on a career, or do you find it very difficult being who you are as a powerful woman? Um, is it hard to date? And like, is
Yeah.
it because people say, it's so hard to date here in, LA or even Orange County where I'm from. But would you say that's the same about like New York? Has that,
It's a great
like,
question.
why are you single?
People definitely say that. I don't know. People do say that about New York, that there's like four girls to every like straight male, four women. So I don't know how real that data is. Definitely in my 20s, it was a choice.
Okay.
I would say that, like, I dated until I was 23, and I just was like, how can you date when you're broke? Like, this sucks. So I actively made a choice and said, no boys until I have my own self identity, independence, I have money. I was dating in my world, like at 22, 23, I was like dating guys who were dating like girls who had like rich dads. And so they're like dating this like hot 20 girl with like a Chanel bag and like dating me. I was like, this sucks.
Mm.
I feel like a nobody. Like, I don't want to be at lunch with this guy and knowing that if God forbid he like wanted me to pay, I can't, or like split the bill, I can't
You
pay.
worry
Like, because
about that?
I have no, I did. Yeah, I worry
Oh
about
my
that.
God.
Sure.
But
I don't. So, but like, look, now I don't worry about it because I have money in my checking account. But when you're 22 and you have like 40 bucks in your checking account, then you're worried about not being able to pay. So I did not like dating broke. So
okay.
that was definitely a choice. In my 20s, I didn't like how I felt when I was dating or having sex. I didn't like that I didn't have my career yet. It was a choice. I stopped, and I stopped cold turkey for 8 years.
Okay. Cold
When I
turkey.
turned 30 and 31, actually, when I turned 31 and I started like dating again, I found it difficult. I wouldn't say that it's impossible, um, but it's harder. I think part of it is harder that I'm older now because I kind of feel like I'm new to this, but I'm at an age where maybe like some men don't know where to place me. Like, I always say to Giselle, like, and to you too, like, you're in a better place. Like, you've had a kid.
Mm.
Sometimes like a guy will look at me and probably be like, she's probably desperate for it. Like, she wants to trap me. She wants to, and I'm like,
Oh.
no, I don't. But I do think that there's a stigma attached to like women in their 30s who are not married, definitely in New York, is that they're like, now, they've had their fun and everyone else got married, and so now they're on like the desperate train.
Oh.
And I'm like fighting that stigma. So I think it's harder. And then also, like, I don't really know what I like. Again, this is sort of new territory to me. I kind of know what I want a partner. I'm not like looking for a provider. There's certainly a culture though in this city of like, women who are looking for a provider, who want to get taken care of, and maybe a more transactional
Mm.
nature to like what relationships are. I'm really like looking for, like, I want someone who's sort of like me, who has their own lane and we can cross paths here and there and enhance each other and grow together. But definitely it's been hard. Everyone was like, oh, like your DMs must be blowing up. Like my DMs are not blowing up. There's
That's
no one
that's
there.
what people
I
said
don't
about
know.
me. I'm like, no, dry and still dry.
Right.
It's not what
Like
people
where?
think.
Like who? Yeah, I didn't get any DM.
Yeah.
Like I got
Oh
nothing.
my
Like
gosh,
what?
that's so funny.
Yeah, I got like some girls in the DM, but I definitely didn't get any guys in the DM.
Same.
So I don't
Oh,
know.
that's so good. Well, thank you for being open and honest about that. The end goal, do you want to get married and have kids?
Yes, I still
Yeah.
do. I know that like people, you know, I sometimes think like I just watched the Martha Stewart doc also on Netflix, and I was like, okay, like maybe like she got married, she had a kid, but like her best life was after that. Like she did her thing, she still like had love affairs, she had sex, she built this incredible life, she's wealthy, like she built an empire after her divorce. Um, and maybe that is a great like solo path. I believe that there are some people that are better at that. I don't know. I guess the truth is I don't know. I still have yet to learn about myself in a partnership.
Mm,
So
yeah.
once I try that, then I'll know if like it's for me. I would like I need to be in like a real healthy good relationship, and if I can pull that off and I'm comfortable in that space, then yeah, I want to be married and have kids. But if for some reason like I realize, then I'll know more once I actually do it and try it. But yeah, I would love to have children one day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
so I would like to get on the kind of business side of real estate about New York because I don't really know much. New York real estate is one of the most competitive and
I can't believe you have not been
I
there.
know. I say that and people freak out. They're just like, "Wait, what?" But honestly, I think I'm going to go this year. I don't know. Something's telling me I'm going to end up in New York this year. I don't know when or where or why, but
Yeah.
when I do go,
Okay.
I'll hit you up and we'll hang out.
Yeah.
um
Like a weekend, you know.
yes, absolutely. Oh, Amis. Oh, anyways, okay. So New York real estate is one of the most competitive and cutthroat markets in the world. What's the boldest and most unconventional move you've ever made to close a deal, and how did it change your career?
I do a lot of crazy things. I definitely just recently was working with a client who's really important to me and actually to the city, like a very high profile person. So someone
Hmm.
famous, won't say
Yes,
what
okay.
space. But they really wanted this one apartment that just like was not available. They wanted to rent it and it's for sale, not for rent. And through some bizarre means, we were offered it for rent, but it was like never actually really for rent. It was a big mistake. But I like, even though it was a mistake, like my client still wanted it. So I was like, how do I like make this thing become for rent when really they just want to sell? So I didn't know. I heard that like the owner, I had like someone, I knew who the owner of the apartment was. I knew where they like to like go out. So I like had someone at the restaurant like notify me when they were there at dinner. And like within like 30 minutes I was there. I found myself there, and I kind of crashed their. I did. I didn't kind of. I crashed their dinner. I just walked around and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go like get a drink there. I saw that he was still there. He was like literally paying the bill. I went up and was like, oh, we know each other through so and so. Totally made it up. And then like was like, oh, don't you own this apartment? And then ended up, you know, getting the deal done actually for my client. So
That is
things like, yeah, I've done
so
that.
good, and I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. We do
Like,
some crazy stuff.
yeah, I mean, look, my clients are really, really important to me. I build like long-term relationships with them. So like I will exhaust all options to try to get them what they want or make something happen for them, and get as creative as
Yeah.
possible. And like you honestly, you do kind of have to do that here. This is someone this morning was like telling me like, oh, I always thought about like getting into real estate. I love sales. And I was like, okay, like getting into real estate anywhere is one thing, but getting into real estate in New York is just different because like this is a city where most people are in finance and real estate. Like most of the clients in some capacity work in this world. Finance, consulting, real estate, they all, right, it all
Hmm.
overlaps. And so like they know everything about real estate. So like they're going to expect their real estate agent to be like beyond no. Like you have to know, like you have to know who the power players are, like no, right? Like no funds, no buildings, no street, like the level of information that you need to have and lingo and just like the vocab on the business and the who knows who is very high to be successful here.
So you've been in real estate for 15 years. How long, because you obviously were born and raised in New York and you're never leaving the city. You made that very clear. How long did it take for you to really start seeing momentum for the realtors that watch my show, that's getting into real estate, that wants to break into the luxury space? How long, like realistically? Because they think, oh, I know. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is the biggest thing with these shows. I think that like some realtors try to sort of burst the bubble on is that the shows are showing you 4.5 or 5 hours of like the best of the best, right? They're showing you the deals getting done and they're showing you, the listing pitch and the this, but like for every one of those deals, there's like a year of like work that goes behind it, or listings, or getting those relationships. Like people, again, that 75, I say it on the show, the $75 million deal didn't just happen. It was a client that I met 10 years ago renting an apartment. So that is a relationship that took a very long time. And I had no idea 10 years ago how we would wind up, right? That's not how it works. It's not linear. It's a lot of taking chances, a lot of people moving away and not closing, and a lot of failed attempts. I would say even like more so than actors, right? Because there's no sympathy prize here. There's no like, oh, well, maybe you can do this instead. There's just a hard no. I started originally, I didn't get lucky, but I positioned myself and worked really hard to work for, I got on a team. And I tell this to all agents, like start on a team. So I started on a team that was like a top producing team. The team leader had no time to like mentor me individually, but one of the other agents on the team allowed me to shadow them. Mm-hmm. That means I was with them at all times. I was like a sponge, but I was not earning more money. Also, like the way this team worked is you only got paid like $500 a transaction. That's it. So like, regardless of who brought it in, what happened, whatever, like it was just a privilege to be there. So I was not making real money for, I want to say 3 years I made it big. But like the first 2 years was just getting by and surviving and learning. It does not happen. And like the first client I ever had and met with, I actually only closed him, I want to say 6 years after I met with him. You are playing the long game with people and relationships, right? Like that is what it is. Leads are just people that, anyone can be a lead. Someone at the grocery store, a family member. Like I always say, like, look for 5 people in your network that, like are looking out for you, wanted to see you succeed and make money, and ask them to please, please, please think of any lead, whether it's a rental or a developer or anything, and put you in touch with them. And all you are doing is building your network, your base. You're always auditioning people. You're sort of like 24/7 being looked at. People are sort of watching your expertise. But like any deal that I do now, it's that like famous quote where it's like, you're not paying me for like the 3 months that I've been working with you. You're paying me for like the 15 years of the experience that I've built on this now. And so like, what people are seeing on the show is me conveying my expertise and knowledge and professionalism. There's no, I hate when people say this. Actually, I'll just use the real names. I won't even hide it. I love it. I met the mayor, not when he was the mayor of New York City. I met him before he was mayor many, many years ago. And some people like to say to me like, oh, wow, like, look at all these things that have, look at how close you guys got, how you built a friendship with him, and all of these other opportunities that happen in your life just because you met the mayor. And I'm like, excuse you? Like hundreds of thousands of people have met the mayor and not all of them got the opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, one, that's not true. Nobody gave me anything, but like wealthy and successful people meet thousands of people all day long. If they have connected to you, it is because you did something special and influential, right? Like your elevator pitch, I was like once in line to like buy Hillary Clinton's book, and it was like, I don't know why I was in line, but whatever. I was in line to buy her book, and like all these people were like waiting, and like you had like 30 seconds to talk to her. And like I probably watched, like, it was at Barnes and Noble, I don't know if I was there, but I watched like hundreds of people walk by, and like 1 out of 500 like caught her attention, got her interest, like, and exchanged phone numbers with her. There is something that one person said that like was strong enough to lead to a second meeting. Like you are, it is not like luck or chance. It really is about being able to seizing those opportunities when they come up and impressing people in those moments.
That's really good.
So that's it. That takes period. So that like those things take time to manifest, but they do eventually. Yes. Right. But all I was doing in those early years was like building and seizing opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So that actually falls perfectly to my next question. Real estate isn't just about beautiful listings. It's about navigating rejection, market crashes, and high pressure negotiations. What's one moment in your career where you faced a major setback, and how did you turn it into an opportunity?
Well, this is a career of setbacks. I will just say it is, you make a habit of learning how to face a setback or rejection. It's so funny. Like we talk also, another thing that we speak about on the show, and I think any business owner can relate to this. I don't go out and chase clients. Like this is a totally inappropriate use of words, but certainly I'm in a commission-based business, a relationship-based business. I'm not, people pay their lawyers a salary or an hourly wage, or their financial advisors get paid hourly. We are only paid as we transact, but I would like the relationship to reflect more like those other advisors. So for me, if a client has an event or a gala or a charity, I will go and always support my clients. Me supporting them or being there or being a more intertwined part of their lives has nothing to do with chasing them. It has to do with understanding, being there for them, and showing them that like I'm not a transaction chaser. I'm here for the long term, and also like just understanding them better. And then should they use me, it's because I am the best, and it is their privilege to also have someone who cares about them that deeply. Right. So I will just say that. But rejection happens, and sometimes it hurts when you hear that a client has had to use someone else for whatever reason, and those things occur. One major setback was I was working on a new development for like 4 years. And when you work on a project for that long, if it's big enough, then they'll pay you a monthly retainer, for your advice until you can actually launch sales. But this was small. It was one of my first projects. I really wanted to do right by these people. And so I didn't collect a retainer. I just worked on it for 4 years in anticipation that I would do the sales when they were ready to launch sales. And unfortunately, it was right when the pandemic hit. I literally was like 4.5 years of my life of taking meetings, 2 or 3 meetings every week, just to, decide on the unit mix and select the architect and the finishes and everything. And then they like lost the building basically right when the pandemic hit. And so 4.5 years later, I just worked on it, and there's nothing, and they had nothing. But right. That is the nature of this business. It was obviously a blow. It was like money that I was hoping for. But it doesn't matter. Those relationships, even though those people never became active again, through them, I met other people. I truly believe that you need to put your energy and time only into things that are moving you forward or serving you. If they're not, you're just digging yourself into a deeper hole. Like what are you going to do? Like chase them down and try to get a couple bucks? Like all that time and effort to chasing them down should be spent on like getting new listings and lead. Like you got to just cut your losses and move on when the time is right. But yeah, but I would say like this is an industry that's sort of riddled with heartache and heartbreak.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also, even the rejection and the setbacks, it's never wasted. It's always more preparation. Okay, now I know better next time. Or in your case, you didn't know that was going to happen. Obviously, that was not in the plans. But all that experience in that 4.5 years, you were able to take that and use that for other things. And like you said, you were able to meet other people through that process, which again is not a
Totally.
loss. That's a gain, right?
It's not a
Yeah,
loss.
exactly.
Right?
No, I
Yes.
love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's good for all you realtors getting in on the industry. And I've talked about it multiple times in the past. You have to be okay, almost be sick in the head and fall in love with rejection. You're going to fail, and you're going to fail more than you are going to win. That's just part of the game. So I love that
Yeah.
oh man, 4 years though. Oh, that's tough.
There have been, I mean, I'd say that's light.
Yeah.
That's like light work. There are things that hurt
Yeah.
more. I mean, this is an industry where like people generally know what you make, count your dollars. There's a nature of comparison for some people. So it's a hard industry in general, but the highs are really high too.
Right.
I will say that. Like there's a lot once you hit, even for younger agents like that are so frustrated, like it's almost like making peace with things not working out, because once they do, they really do. There can also be that exponential, like suddenly you'll catch your flow, and one deal will finally close, and then they'll like refer someone else, or they're dormant, like then it comes in and you just need to be ready and prepared for that.
Right.
And somehow keep the same measured and professional approach, whether you're really struggling and have faced a lot of setbacks or have done really well.
Right.
Like it has to feel the same to the buyer, to the outsiders, right? To the clients.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. That's a good message for you new realtors or building your business. But I do want to speak. We have a couple more questions because we only have a few more minutes left. And I, of course, want to respect your time. I could talk to you all day. What would you say? What would be your top advice, maybe one piece of advice for the realtor or broker that wants to start their own small team like you have?
Ugh, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. A team is not something that I take lightly, because I'm taking on the responsibility of other people. I don't believe that as a team leader, your job is to be a lead source. That is not it. But your job is to be present, to offer mentorship, guidance, solutions, creativity. Let them learn and grow from you. I believe that the way that a team should work is that the team leader should have their business, team members should have their business, which is a lot smaller, and they sort of help each other, right? Like the team member helps the team leader have more time. The team leader gives a couple leads to the team member, which then allow the team member to, leverage and grow. But the real beauty of any collaboration is the new business that they're able to get together. So the idea for me is not an exchange of money between us, is that together we are stronger and we can like pick up what's left on the table. A very literal example of this is like, let's say I have a $2 million listing, which I do. I have a few of them. I have a $2 million listing and I host an open house for it. And a buyer comes in who's not represented by a broker. And I connect with them. At this point in my career, I'm probably too busy to go and try to convert that. But that's how I built my business, is by converting that buyer who didn't have a broker and making them my buyer, and then taking them and selling them something else, right? That is, conversions of buyers are literally how I built the business. I host open houses, and if they weren't interested in the listing that I had, I would take them and work with them elsewhere. I am not doing that today, but I fully expect every single member of my team to be doing that. That is the business that if I was alone today, I would leave the $2 million buyer that just walked in the door on the table. That is why I need a team, because I don't feel comfortable leaving that buyer on the table. And two, like I want them to work that business. Right. Now, do I need them to sell the 2 million listing? No, I have an assistant who can do that for me, and I pay her a lot less than I'd pay them for selling that $2 million listing. But I need them to use that $2 million listing and get listings above, below, next door, pick up buyers from the open house. I need them to use that listing to get more business. That's what they can do for me.
Yeah.
Right. That is the new business that I talk about. It's like, I will have my listings, they will have theirs, but I want them to use whatever listings and buyers I have and make that grow. That is the point of having a team.
How do you choose this is just an extra one. How do you choose a team
Yeah.
member? It obviously there's some people on your team that doesn't have a lot of experience, right? But someone has to start somewhere.
Yes.
I get that because we all did. You did too. I did too, right?
Yeah.
So what's like your top things that you look for to choose someone, to trust them to be on a team? And this is asking for a friend, aka me. Because what I find, because I eventually would love to build a team. I tried for a minute, and long story short, it didn't work out. She ended up, I guess she ended up backstabbing me. But we won't get in that. But
Is she a partner or a team member?
it was more of an assistant that it was turning into a team member. Got her license, and then she was going to be like the main one to start a bigger team and add one more and eventually grow it. But I lost trust, and it's been so hard for me to trust people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't trust people. I mean, I don't. So trust is also a very complicated and difficult thing for me, which is why I have all of my systems. So for me, those are like non-negotiables. If you want to be on this team, I have a method that works, and I like my method. Meaning, if an email comes in, I want everyone on my team using a folder system to organize emails. Meaning, if you've not handled it or replied to it, then it can get filed into a folder. If you have not replied to it, then it has to stay in your inbox until you have. Showings, everyone shares their calendar. I need to know where, I'm sorry, these are my listings, my clients. I want to know, we're all on every showing. I want to know who's there, where, who they met, how they met them. This is one, it's good for me because like of my whole thing, but it's also best practices. I mean, if you lose a listing, you need to easily be able to pull your exclusion list and who you showed it to and when, or if there's a dispute over a deal, you need to be able to identify procuring cause. Like, it is just, what is right for this business, but it's certainly, that's how I run my team. I want you to subscribe to my calendar system, which obviously was a thing for us on the show, to my folder system, the way that I communicate with clients. There's, like Giselle and I actually, who, I trust her so implicitly because like I gave her a lead once and I didn't like how she was working with him. And instead of like, I could tell like she thought it was like overbearing and micromanaging her. And she was like in the group chat with a client, she like wrote, Eleonora's like having a hissy fit or something, which like I hated that. Like, don't ever talk shit about me in front of a client. But I at least appreciated that she didn't talk shit about me direct to the client. She didn't message him one-on-one. She messaged him in the group chat, basically, so I could see that she was talking. Do you know what I mean? Like in a weird way that trust her more because she did it to my face. She didn't go behind my back and try to take the client. She did it to my face. Still not good to say things like that in front of a client, but nonetheless, like I can take. I like the group chat. I like that if you're texting with a lead that I gave you or a client, keep me in the chat. I don't care. I can handle the emails. I can handle the chat. I'd rather see it even if I don't respond or say anything. I need to know. So for me, those are the systems. I also have a contract that's like very ironclad. And again, I think that these are like to the benefit of the agents. I want them all to be, they don't need to all be me, my brand. I'm not that. I'm not hiding them. There's no like my brand. They each have their own identity, right? Like Taylor, Giselle, Jordan, Kiana, all the women on my team and the men on my team are who they are. They can market and brand themselves in their own way, but the professionalism and the way they operate will be my way.
That's good. Okay. I have so many more questions, but I definitely have to wrap it up. So I ask all my guests on the show, in your definition, what does pain to power mean to you?
Gosh, I mean, I would say pain. Now, look, pain is the one experience that truly makes you better. I mean, and stronger. There is no way around it. There is a certain level, there's a certain tolerance that only special people can take. And like, if you have had that high pain tolerance or those experience, emotional, right? Not physical, emotional pain tolerance, that means that your capacity is so much deeper for a challenge. And the bigger the challenge, like the bigger, the result and the success. For me in my life, it is like the narrative. The more I get shot down, the bigger I rise, like so much better. The comeback is so strong. So that's what it means to
Love
me.
that. Love that. Okay. Last
Okay.
question. What is next for you?
What is next? Well, next I'm about to go jump on a Zoom about a new development in Tribeca that I'm excited for. But I don't know what's next. I think there's a wave right now in terms of work. I actually think that the housing market is in a relatively decent space. I think that the New York market is always going to be healthy and stable. We're, top 5 most expensive city in the world. So I'm not worried, but I specifically think 2025 is going to be a very strong year for New York. We have we have low inventory. We have political change. The market seemed to be responding to what I believe will be a good time for the city. I want the team to do well. I know a lot of people have been reaching out about being on the team. Right now, we're good as we are. I need to just enjoy being in this space and see how I navigate it. And once I can grow on the back office, then I can have more agents. But I certainly wouldn't bring any agents on that we can't service with the operational side. So that's what's next. And then personally, I don't know, I want to have a little bit of fun. I always work, and I certainly go out for work and for networking, but I also want to try in my life to go out for fun, which is just altruism. This is more new to me. Just go because I like the music or the food, not to have to go to a dinner because I have to meet someone or take a meeting, which is most of my nights. I would like to try to go out to things just because I enjoy them and can let my hair down a little. That would be a nice and maybe date or hook up. That'll be fun.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you so
you.
much again, Eleonora, for being on the show. I'm so excited. And you guys, if you loved this episode just as much as I did, make sure you subscribe, all the things, and I will see you at the next one.